Hi there, it's Sandra with Brew City Thrifts. Today it is a Monday after work and it is a gorgeous day. I am at the Goodwill of Waukesha and I'm excited to see what they've got, so let's go in there and let's hit it. On this day, I am starting in the color-coded shelving area and I pick up a wooden item that is misplaced in the blue shelves. Then I notice these plates. These are, they look like salt glazed plates, and it turns out that they're by a company called Salt Glaze Stoneware. I'm not familiar with that company. You know that I do pick up a lot of raw salt glazed pottery and other different brands, but not being familiar with that one, I had to look them up, and it just turned out that I couldn't really find that company. The other plates by them weren't worth that much, so I did leave those behind. On these yellow shelves, I noticed first this copper looking lidded item. It was very lightweight. This looks like some kind of glass globe with blown glass on the inside. It's kind of an interesting contraption, and again, though, very lightweight, so I didn't think the quality was very high. And finally, I saw this little stone trinket box. Someone had been looking at it as well. It was by a company in Alaska, I believe, or Canada. And it's of a native person, an Eskimo, but it didn't seem to have too much of a resale value. These shelves are often very lucky for me at this Goodwill. These are the shelves with wooden items and wall plaques and wall hangings, and they're pretty full. They're packed pretty full, and I'm just giving you sort of a long shot at all the items here. These geese look like they have some age. There's a pair. I'm actually taking a quick look at that wooden plaque, but I noticed another one of the geese. Well, I'm also taking a look at this whale trivet. I kind of like that. I like the different kinds of woods, but I am trying to get a hold of this matching goose. It's a wall plaque with wood and brass. It's very mid-century in its look and vibes. When I finally am able to wrestle it out, I see that it's in a different pose. It's got some damage on it, and ultimately the quality was very, very inexpensive. So while if those had been finer quality, I probably would have picked them up. I noticed this figurine. It's of an impala or some sort of antelope. I really like the design. I like the weathering on it. I like the fact that it's got some scuffs and wear. But again, it was very lightweight, and had it had a little bit more heft, had the metal been a little bit thicker, I think I might have taken it, but I decided to leave it on the shelf. Now this had a good quality and weight to it. It is some sort of an expandable trivet is what it looks like. It's got an etched design. I'm guessing it's made in India. And so I was trying to collapse it and I was not able to do that. It seemed to be broken. I'm among the tchotchkes, and I notice back here a brass trivet. It's got a design of some flowers, and I turn it over, and it does have a date on it. It is a vintage piece. I think it's nice. I mean, it's got a relatively simple design, but it's good weight for the brass, and so I decide I'm going to take that with me. I notice on this shelf a mug out of place. Sometimes out of place items mean that somebody picked them up, was interested in them, but eventually left them behind. In this case, this is a mug featuring the artwork by Gustav Klimt. He is famous for this particular painting, which is called The Kiss. And I decide it's a nice mug, and I think I'm going to take it with me. On this shelf, I noticed this pottery chalice. This has a little bit of felt on the bottom. It has some age, And I think these pottery chalices go for me eventually. We're coming into Renaissance fair season, and I think these go to people who like those Renaissance fairs. If you price them right, it'll go. Here is a vintage amber ashtray, and right next to it, I noticed this. This is a art heart by Demdaco. Demdaco is a brand to keep your eyes out for. They make some nice items, and this is an item I picked one up before, so I'm interested in it. I put it in my cart to think about it. This appears to be potentially some sort of cruet or perfume bottle. I wasn't sure. I also put it in my cart to think about it, but it did go back on the shelf. So I was about to walk by the Christmas aisles. There was a ton of Christmas stuff out, and I noticed these. And of course, these are Department 56 Dickens Village houses and buildings. These are very collectible, and you may know that I have a friend who collects them, and this is like the mother load. Now, I decide I'm only going to take one because I don't have to be greedy. I've already actually picked up one for my friend, but hey, maybe I'll give him two this year. So I end up taking the one on the left. It's called the Margrove Orangery. Scanning in an area that has a lot of miscellaneous kinds of items. I am scanning for something to catch my eye. There's a lot of glass. There's a ceramic butter dish, and then I noticed this. This is a vintage condiment caddy. It actually was nice and weighty, so I think it's a quality piece. It's got padding on the bottom, and I can tell that at least two of the pieces, the salt and pepper, do have their original plastic tops. I'm going to say this I'm going to say 1940s, 1950s. And I like the design, and even though two of the pieces may be missing corks or something on their tops, maybe also those plastic lids, I decide it's worthwhile to take it with me, and I put it in my cart. Kind of out of place in a candle area is this item. It is a wooden apple ornament, hand painted. I really do like the detail on this piece. I like the little cutout that shows the apple seeds on the inside, and I like the leather string for hanging it. So it goes in my cart. It's a cute piece. I think that somebody's going to really like that. Also out of place in the candle area, I noticed this stack of plates. Again, sometimes when you find something out of place at a Goodwill, it's a sign that someone picked it up and carried it around with them for a while and maybe eventually decided against them. In this case, I think this is a really great find. The pattern on these plates is called Buttons and Daisies, or Daisies and Buttons, I'm not sure. I think different vintage glass makers have made items with this pattern. These are just a very nice set. They are square, and again with that heavy pattern, they catch the light. They're beautiful, and because they're clear glass, I think they can complement so many different china styles, so many different tables and seasons. So I'm just checking through to make sure that they're all in good shape, and they are. There, I didn't see any damage at all on any of these plates. So those were going to come with me, and I was really excited to put them in my cart. On this green end cap, I noticed this piece of probably vintage glass, this little bowl. And then below it, I noticed this clear glass with green glass gift box. It is heavy. It's more contemporary, but I do like the design, and I thought it would probably be a great holiday piece, but there was a chip on it, so I left it behind. I've been preferring to look for picture frames rather than large pictures just for shipping reasons. And the frames that do very well for me are frames like this, which are vintage enameled frames with rhinestones that are kind of blingy and fun. This one has pink flowers with little pink rhinestones in the corners, and that goes in my cart. Here in the vases, I'm happy to see there's a lot of color. The first piece I pull out is more of a maybe recycled glass looking piece. It's got a pinched in top. It's probably contemporary, but I liked it. I just decided I didn't like it enough to pick it up. I pick up a piece of pottery, which I am inclined to do when I'm in a lot of glass. For some reason, the pottery is what catches my eye. And again, here, this piece of pottery is also catching my eye. This turns out to be a bacon cooker. So you cook your bacon in this piece of pottery, apparently. I think it's a kind of weird idea, so that's probably why it's here at the Goodwill. It's also chipped, unfortunately, on that spout area. I thought this might be a vintage piece of glass, or even, possibly older than that, but it was for potpourri, I believe. That's a ruby glass. And then I notice this goblet. It's pottery. It's a little shorter, but it's signed, it's vintage. I definitely like the glaze a lot, and I decide I'm going to put that in my cart. That little cardboard box to the right and the left, those cardboard boxes are for me personally for gift giving around the holidays. I noticed this big pottery vase. It was lighter weight than one would expect, making me think it might be made in China. Then I noticed those matching set of bicolored pottery goblets. And this cobalt blue vase, which looks to be hand blown. I was kind of interested in it because the glass was heavy. I like the shape. It's kind of a classic shape. But then I noticed that the color did not extend all the way up to the rim. I wasn't sure if that was an issue with flashing coming off or just some sort of flaw with the color, but maybe this is a case glass piece. It just puzzled me, and even though I liked this, I did put it back. How fun is this? I was walking by really quickly this area, but I did reach up and grab this. This is, of course, from the TV show The Office, which I am a fan of. And Dunder Mifflin characters are on the wooden utensils, and I just thought it was super fun. So I may keep it, I might pass it on, but I was happy to find that. Here, among a lot of canisters and jars, this one caught my eye. It just seemed to have a little more age than a lot of the other pieces. It appeared to be hand blown. It's kind of a classic apothecary jar, and I was especially interested in the ground glass rim. That's often a sign of age, and I decided I'm taking that with me. This is a area I like to look at here at this particular Goodwill. I often find vintage items around here. Today there was lots of stuff piled up, but I wasn't seeing things that caught my eye that looked particularly old. This is not old, but it is a nice piece of pottery. It's a pottery bowl, and it's an art studio bowl, so I thought I would grab that. I did notice these matching drip glaze pieces. They look like they were from the same set. Okay, it is time for a cart review. We are going to start with, I think, my favorite pickup of the day, which are the Daisy and Button square lunch or salad plates. Then we've got this utensil set from the TV show The Office. It's going to be hard for me to move things around. So I think I'm just pointing out the Department 56 Dickens Village Margrove Orangery is the name of that building. Then I've got this vintage caddy. Next to it, I have this beautiful, I think it could be an antique apothecary jar with the ground glass lid. So really happy about that pickup. Pulling out this, what seems to be a vintage goblet or chalice. Then we've got the Klimt cup with the kiss on it. Here is the brass or pot iron trivet with tulips on it. Up here we've got the pottery soup bowl. It's a studio art piece with a nice little cobalt accent. Here is a smaller pottery goblet, just nicely made. The enameled and rhinestone vintage frame. This is just a set of note cards. I use those to send notes to people who shop my items. Here's that pretty little hand-painted wooden apple. The Demdaco Art of Hearts boxed heart. And there you have it.
Well, I think we did pretty good today. First of all, it was like a sauna in there, so I was sweating and felt like I was breathing underwater for this whole trip. I'm not really sure. I don't think, in Wisconsin, the temperature is all over the place. Sometimes it's hard keeping up. So anyway, I'm especially thrilled about those button and daisy square plates. Those are adorable. And got some other fun stuff. Ran out of time, so didn't get to really take a good look towards the end, but I'm happy with what I got. Had a great time. Hope you did too. Like my channel, comment, subscribe, come back again. We'll do this again. Thrift on.